Welcome back. The Namibia Investment and Finance Academy, NIFA, and Standard Bank Namibia held an informal vendors activation initiative for the empowerment of micro, small and medium businesses. The Standard Bank Blue Growth Series was launched in 2025 as a development program to support small and medium businesses through investment readiness, mentorship and training. The program has its focus on Namibia's informal economy as it remains a major contributor to the country's economic activities. Joining us with more on this is CEO and founder of NIFA, Arinze Okafor. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, Kuda, and happy to be here.
Great. Glad to have you here. Why is the informal economy such an important contributor to Namibia's overall economic activity?
No, Kuda, thank you for the question, and I think it sets the tone quite well for this morning's discussion. So I think in your introduction you mentioned the high contribution the informal sector has to our economy in terms of GDP. So those numbers currently sit at around 24 to 25%. But what's very interesting is that 58% of that same sector also employs a lot of the workforce. And I think I want to sort of amplify that. There was a recent article done, I think, by Cyrus, which now said we only have about 15,000 employers. That amplifies then the informal sector, because what that actually means is a lot of those current registered employers are registered probably with BIPA, which is either PTY or CC, but a lot of the informals are not registered, but they're employing a large chunk of the economy. So it really is a critical sector.
Now, talking about the initiative, how might the informal vendors activation initiative change the lives of micro, small and medium business owners?
Okay, so I think when you look at particularly the Namibian environment, and back to the first question, where we don't have a lot of employers. So ultimately where we sit is we need to now create a pipeline of enterprises. So when you now look at the informal sector, and I think it really touches on what are some of the key challenges. So those people are trading every single day. They're not like a startup, you know, for instance, where you have to come up with an innovative idea. They're trading every day, Monday to
their livelihood.
For their livelihood, literally. But they employ people. They send people to school. How do they do it? So this program, or the activation, is in a sense to say, how do we then sort of reduce some of those systemic challenges to formalizing? And the number one is structure. I think that structure comes as basic as, how do I put my books in order? How do I, increase my business skills? And all of that, and if you look at the way our current economy is structured, without that structure, it then makes it very difficult to access financial services. So the activation is in a sense to sort of put money where one's mouth is, and almost try and create pipeline for financial services by using strategic CSR to de-risk sort of the informal sector. So that's really what the activation is about.
Now, Mr. Okafor, just taking a few steps back, how did this collaboration between NIFA and Standard Bank come together?
No, thank you for that. So
there's always a story,
no,
right?
there definitely is a story. So I think as an individual, so I do have a track record, you know, as an investment professional. But then now, you know, like in the entity in NIFA, so we are MSME, SME, depending on which definition you use. So late 2024 and early 2025, we started engaging Standard Bank. So we said, okay, this is what NIFA wants to do. These are the challenges that we've identified, and we see you as the right partner. So it was almost in I think we had a coffee with Margaret, you know, and then they were explaining where Standard Bank is going. And if you look at their motto now of Namibia as our home, we drive her growth. It really is an impactful sort of theme, and is aligned in terms of our economy. So they've backed MSME or SME, and through this now, it really shows the power of collaboration. And if you look at this growth series, it has multiplied in terms of stakeholders. I mean, last year we had initial support also from NIPDB, Trade Forum, NCCI, and now also City of Windhoek. So it's really just showing you the power of collaboration and intentional partnerships.
Indeed, power of collaboration, intentional partnership, and mutually beneficial partnerships as well.
Absolutely, Kuda.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking about mentorship and investment readiness, why is training like this important to help informal vendors grow their businesses, and most importantly, focusing on sustainability?
100%. And I think, especially the last point, that sustainability is ultimately what, is almost makes your business make or break.
Because anybody can start, right? But
yes,
that longevity.
That longevity. So when you look at particularly informal, and you see it cuts across different disciplines. You have guys who are mechanics or selling second-hand cars. Yes. You have barbershops. You have informal vendors. But all of them, they all have experience running the business, right? But with the mentorship, a lot of times, many of them run the business in their personal accounts. And as you rightfully said, they live day to day. So meaning they might be making even 10, 20,000, but they've got immediate problems to solve. So at times, programs like this need to be very practical and intentional, where they can see a clear difference between once I separate my personal and a business, and then see the natural growth that comes due to now being able to access financial services. Because that is really what then the mentorship then provides, to say, okay, how do I put my affairs in order? How do I properly account for what comes in and also what goes out? Yesterday, there was a lady who shared, I think she runs a school. Now, she's generating revenue. And I think she maybe has 8,000 or 10,000 left after, but doesn't know what to do with it. That's the importance.
Something meaningful.
Something meaningful. Yes. That's the importance then of now mentorship. But also then the investment readiness, in simple terms, Kuda, means if our current financial system, fortunately or unfortunately, it's compliance heavy. Meaning, even if I like your cakes, if I'm a PTY, it's very difficult to support you without an invoice. And those are some of the challenges. So you see, the more the informal vendors see the benefit of sort of structuring, they'll now start to realize, okay, now I can sell my cakes to NIFA or to a private sector company. And be able to actually track. And sometimes we complain about fees and charges. But yesterday we had a joke and said, I won't care about fees and charges if I'm getting more volume. So some don't have access to swipe machines. And I know now banks have done some product reconfigurations to offer informal vendors like POS or small devices. But that in itself, as you know, many of us swipe rather than cash. And maybe if I may, I want to use this also. I think in Parliament, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago, Kuda, where they were making a joke on our Minister of Labour. I don't know if you saw the story where he took his staff out to Kapana. So now they were joking he became Minister of Kapana. Yes. But if you really look at that, jokes aside, that's very nice to see. So imagine now if we structure ourselves better, then you're going to have a lot more of that. Because ordinarily, we'd go to Butcher's Block, and those places are nice. We love the steaks. But just a practical example like that, that's what we're talking about.
No, definitely. Now, what is the value? Why is it important for institutions such as Standard Bank to invest in the informal sector?
So yes, I think Standard Bank obviously being a partner of ours, but even broader for financial institutions. And it goes back again to the heart of the first question. You have 15,000 more or less employers. We say the SME is the key driver for economic growth. How do you create future pipeline? So a lot of the businesses you see today, if you take it even from early 90s, where did they start from? Somewhere in the informal, and then graduated to become an MSME or SME. So it becomes important to de-risk your future pipeline. And that's why I always say CSR shouldn't always be seen as charity. Sometimes you can actually invest now and make a difference, unlock the impact, but ultimately what does that create? It creates future pipeline that now doesn't only unlock banking, it unlocks insurance and other relevant products. Because if I'm now growing as an informal trader, what next am I going to do? I'm going to get a policy, life insurance. I'm going to get a study policy for my kid. And that is all of the natural growth that you see from investing in a sector such as this.
Talking about that investment, and perhaps you could expand on this, what long-term impact could the Blue Growth Series have on Namibia's economy if it is successfully implemented? In other words, a couple of years from now, what do you visualize?
So what I visualize is a healthy pipeline of enterprises. So again, if you go back to our financial system, you see the initial form of capital typically sometimes is banks. But to access bank capital, you need to reach a certain level. So the other forms of capital is family, rich uncle, rich auntie, friends, yes, or fools, as sometimes as they say. So this program, where we see it is, and we really have national ambitions to sort of even complement, support some of the initiatives around the National Youth Fund and a lot of other initiatives. But the key goal is what we want to see is a quality pipeline of enterprises, such that when businesses reach a certain level, it now creates access and pipeline for banks, for your private equity, for your other asset managers that play in the SME financing space. So it's almost like a conveyor belt. That's really what we then want to see, and ultimately job creation. So when you look at your other sectors, like infrastructure, yes, it's good, but you see it has a spike in terms of job creation. As we agreed, this is daily. They trade every single day. So this is immediate and direct job creation. So that's also what we want to see through creating a pipeline of enterprises.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Kuda.
Right. That was Mr. Arinze Okafor. He is the CEO and founder of the Namibia Investment and Finance Academy, commonly referred to as NIFA, and he was speaking to us about the Blue Growth Series, a collaboration with Standard Bank Namibia that focuses on informal vendors and really capacitating that sector.